Welcome back to LGBT Snapshots. I am your host, Chad. It is World War II week, and today is Fiction Day. We'll be talking about both Alan Turing's life and the movie The Imitation Game that was based on his life. Alan Matheson Turing was born in 1912, and he had a relatively happy childhood in England, showing traits of being a genius early on, excelling as a student, and showing a particular love and aptitude for math and the sciences. As a youth, he formed a close friendship with a boy named Christopher Morcom, who soon died from tuberculosis. And that had a profound impact on Turing's development. Some have described Christopher as Alan's first love. At university, Turing impressed his superiors with his revolutionary ideas, including plans for a universal computing machine capable of solving any math equation. During World War II, Turing joined up with a group of secret cryptographers and used his Turing machines to crack the German Enigma machine, at the time a seemingly impossible task. This allowed selected leaders in Britain to have access to German plans, which they then had to use selectively, and Turing's triumph ultimately helped to end the war. Turing also designed other innovations, many of which were kept classified until 2012, nearly 70 years later. Turing, who was at times eccentric, was a talented runner who once tried out for the Olympics team. In 1941, he proposed marriage to Joan Clark, a fellow cryptographer, and confessed to her that he was homosexual. Even though she didn't care, he couldn't go through with the marriage. After the war, Turing continued teaching, researching, and inventing. Among his innovations was the famous Turing test, which has been used with artificial intelligences, and he turned toward mathematical biology toward the end of his life. Many of his innovations were not made available until after his death. In 1952, Turing began a new relationship with a younger man, and when it was discovered by police after a burglary, he was charged with indecency. Turing was given the chance to choose between jail or probation and chemical castration, and he chose the latter. During his probation, he was given injections of estrogen that had long-term health impacts and ended up rendering him impotent. Turing's reputation was also squandered, and he lost jobs and trust among his colleagues. Turing was found dead in 1954 in his early 40s of cyanide poisoning. His death was ruled a suicide, but it may have been accidental. He was found with an apple that had a single bite out of it, and it was likely injected with cyanide. Years later, his contributions to the war were finally revealed, and decades after that, it was revealed that he was homosexual. Some have wondered if the company Apple's logo, an apple with a single bite out of it, has any relation to Turing's death, but the company has denied that, claiming it's a coincidence. Queen Elizabeth pardoned Alan Turing for his crimes in 2014. That same year, the film Imitation Game was released, based on the life of Alan Turing, and focusing primarily on his code-breaking during World War II and his relationship to Joan. Starring Benedict Cumberbatch as Turing, the film grossed over $230 million worldwide, and it was nominated for Best Picture. It was well received and lauded for bringing Turing's life to the modern consciousness. The movie was also criticized for some historical inaccuracies, notably describing Turing as nearly autistic. Alan Turing remains a hero for the LGBT community, and it's important to know about his life and contributions. Anytime you use a computer, it's basically tied to Turing. I hope you learned something today. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends. We'll see you back here tomorrow for Gay Day when we talk about Rudolf Brozda.